Hello, my name is Lauren.
And I'm Kyle. Welcome to the Theoretical YouTube channel, where today we are hosting the 4th annual Theoretical Oscars.
Yes, can you believe we've done this for 4 years now?
I thought this was the 3rd until you just said 4 before we started recording.
Oh,
And,
excellent. Yes, this is the
yeah,
4th year. And I think it's a good year. There's a few categories that I thought we were going to retire and replace with new ones, but we'll get to which ones in particular. But there's a couple that, because of the selection of films, we had to keep in.
definitely. I can think of a few. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
watch a lot of films this year?
No, actually, I didn't see very many films. There were a lot that I really wanted to see, but I've been kind of busy with, the real world. So, but I have seen the ones that I have seen have been really good. I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Nice.
I saw Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Really good movie. You still haven't seen it, have you?
Not yet.
It's very good.
I
So,
need to be able to stream it.
it was in theaters when I first told you to watch it.
Okay, that's true. Well,
Yeah.
based on its, I mean, this might be spoilery for the rest of the ceremony, but based on its performance, I think I have to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's.
I went into watching that movie telling like the people I was watching it with, oh, I really liked Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that was my favorite movie this year. And then I walked out of Puss in Boots and I'm like, dang it, that's my favorite movie this year.
All right,
So
yeah. I
it's
mean,
that
I'd
good.
seen the first Puss in Boots when it originally came out, but I have
Doesn't
not thought
compare.
about. Oh, it's not comparable at all.
No, this one's like a really good movie. That one's like a pretty good movie.
Okay. Well, we will talk about it more when we get to something it's nominated for. But our first category is probably my favorite category that we do, which is why we always start with it: Best Stunt Work, where the nominees were The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Everything Everywhere All at Once, RRR, Top Gun: Maverick, and The Woman King. This was a great year for stunts.
An amazing year for stunts, especially an amazing year for like people who do their own stunts. Like there was
Mm-hmm.
a lot of real things happening this year. Like I think the
Yeah,
Woman
and
King did a lot of like
yes.
real stunts. Maverick, they flew planes.
Yeah, I mean, what surprised me the most about all the nominees, I mean, we put them together, but what surprised me about what movies came out this year is how different all of the stunts were. Because compare something like Top Gun Maverick, which was a lot of like technical flying scenes that were really captured on camera and had a lot of coordinated stunt driving and stuff like that. But then you compare it to something like The Batman, which had a lot of like physical fighting and choreography, but then that's totally different than something like RRR, which is over the top, like enhanced with CGI.
Yeah,
And every film had like a different flavor of stunt work. But so it was just really cool to see all of them together.
yeah, I definitely agree. They were all very different for how they achieved stunts in a great way.
Hmm.
But all of them are still great at their stunt work.
Do you have any predictions for which one people voted for the most? This was a pretty significant lead. It got more than 50% of the vote.
I think probably because of the just the whole culture around people. Everyone knows that Tom Cruise does his own stunts, and
Sure.
big Tom Cruise movie where they Tom Cruise learned to fly planes. I think he did it back in Top Gun, but like now he's doing like even more intense stuff. I think that probably means Maverick took the lead in this one.
Yeah. Well, the winner for Best Stunt Work, according to you, the viewers, was not Top Gun Maverick. It was actually Everything
Ooh,
Everywhere All at Once,
nice.
which, I mean, there's a lot of different stunts even within just that movie. It's a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they had stunts other than physical fight scenes, but there were a lot of fight scenes in the film.
Hey, when those rocks fell off the hill,
They needed to have a safety meeting for that one.
yeah, yeah. They should put at the end of the credits that no rocks were harmed with making this film.
Anyway, I'm happy with that one. I think that I don't remember if that's the one that I voted for, but I mean, any of these, I think really like they're so different, but they're
Yeah,
so good. So yeah, I was very happy with stunt work this year. What I was not so happy with was how many films failed the Bechdel test. This was the main category that was like the joke is old, like we never come up with
Yeah.
any talking points like year after year. We just have to like go through this list of films with a lot of like men and not a lot of women in it. So I was totally prepared to not have it this year. And then I looked up how many films failed the Bechdel test, and there were so many that's like, okay, this is the last year we do it.
There's like so many, and they're like not bad films. It's not like the Bechdel test is like a distinction between good and bad films, but it's
Mhm.
like kind of more surprising this year than any other year. Not just how many failed, but which ones failed.
Yeah, and some of them are like failed with a question mark, and we'll get to that. So let's go over the nominees. They were The Adam Project, Bullet Train, Elvis, Nope, Secrets of Dumbledore, Pinocchio, I think that's the Disney version, and Weird, the Al Yankovic story. I was kind of so here's some of the ones with the caveats. The Adam Project technically has two female characters talking to each other, but one is a future version of another, and so it's like, well, that's two different characters but not two different people. I don't think that really fails. I think that one should count.
Yeah, I
um,
think that would be totally fine.
yeah, the other one I think that doesn't, that like technically passes if you squint, is Secrets of Dumbledore, because at the very end,
Yeah.
Lolly asks Tina, who has not been in the movie, like she just shows up as
No,
like a
yeah.
star cameo. She asks her like, "How are things at the Ministry?" And that's how it passes the Bechdel test. So that like passes, but does it really?
Yeah, the Bechdel test. If anyone doesn't know, by the way, we didn't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
In order to pass a Bechdel test, a movie or story or book or whatever has to have at least one instance of two female characters talking to one another about something that is not a boy or a child, baby specifically, like having a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
every year, I think we say something along the lines of, it's surprising how many films fail. This year's most surprising of all. Some of them
yeah,
make a little bit more sense, like Elvis, it's a biopic, but it's not like there were no women in his life.
yeah. I'm
You'd
kind of
think that
surprised
his
by
wife and his mom would have talked at some point.
yeah. I'm kind of surprised by Nope, but when you think about it, it's like how many characters are in that movie? It's
Sure. I
like
mean, I can only think of
6.
3. I haven't technically seen the movie yet, but I can only think of like 3 major characters in it.
Yeah.
One of which is a woman, though. So
One.
the winner for the worst Bechdel fail was Secrets of Dumbledore, which is not surprising to me because think of how massive the cast is
Yeah.
for all of the Fantastic Beasts movies, and it's not like there weren't like female characters in it, but the fact that none of them like interacted with each other, and also the plot as a whole was really messy. So I could see why it happened, but it didn't need to. If they just kept Tina, my favorite Fantastic Beast character, if she was just in the film, then
She
it would have
probably talked to Queenie at some point about
right.
like why wasn't she there? It was a COVID thing.
I thought it was a COVID thing because she had COVID.
Yeah.
But so let's say she can't film for 2 weeks. Why was she written out of the entire film?
I know, right? Like,
and I thought maybe I was like, oh, maybe she was in a contract with another movie. But I don't think she had anything come out this year. So, or at least nothing bigger budget that would like
yeah,
that Warner
something
Brothers
that
would
would have
be
a
able to
contract
buy out
that
her
says, "Hey,
contract.
yeah."
Yeah. For being one of the best characters that's coming out of the Fantastic Beasts movies, which there's not a lot of great characters coming out of the movies, but she's one of them. To then have that like conflict of like, oh, one of the people on the enemy side is her sister. Like, why is there not a scene
And her
where
being
they
like,
connect?
she's like head Auror or something.
Yes.
It's like that would be like someone on the enemy side who's her sister and she's head Auror. That's like good conflict. And yet, no, she's just not in the movie because she's head Auror. She too busy to save the world with us.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that, and I think that is a good point to just retire this category. So unless
Maybe. You never
2023 there is another ridiculous amount of failure, I think we might put a pause on our Bechdel fails, and that's a message for the industry as well.
Hey, yeah. So could we put a pause on our Bechdel fails?
I
Just
mean,
a pause. We can go back to it later.
there was a movie that came out in 2022 that's Oscar, like real Oscar nominated, called Women Talking. So maybe they put all of the women in Hollywood in that film, and then all the other
Yeah.
roles don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, next are coming up on maybe my favorite. I said stunts was my favorite category. No, this is my favorite category. It is the best advertising campaign,
Yes.
which includes trailers and posters and all word of mouth and social
Yeah.
media, just the way that you hear about movies. Our nominees this year were Avatar: Way of Water, which I included because I didn't want to, but it was pervasive. The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Morbius, and Nope. We should go over some of the advertising campaigns and like why they made the list.
Yeah. Because this one's a
Mor-
bit confusing if you don't remember. I think there's one everyone remembers why is on this list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Morbius, because the advertising campaign lasted forever. Like pre-pandemic, there were
advertising it.
trailers in theaters for Morbius.
But that's not the only reason. There's
Yeah.
the reason that they re-released it in theaters.
Yeah, and that's not
unironically.
like an advertising campaign that came from the company. Like Sony
I
didn't
think,
put that
yeah.
one out. That
That
was
still
an
definitely
advertising.
counts.
It was like a grassroots effort to trick the company, and like
Yeah,
that
it was like
deserves some
everyone-
props.
What an amazing like everyone just universally decided we're gonna just like gaslight ourselves into believing Morbius was an amazing movie, and then Sony was like, guys, everyone thinks Morbius is an amazing movie, let's re-release it because we lost like $1 billion the first time we released it, and then guess what, it lost another billion.
Yeah, so it made the list because at least we all saw the campaign.
Yeah.
I think Black Panther and Nope are both on here because they had really good trailers.
Yeah,
I
those ones were
think-
actual good advertising campaigns.
Yeah, I'm not a horror fan, and I know Nope isn't like strictly horror,
Yeah,
but
thriller.
yeah, it's the
suspense,
kind of
yeah.
thing I wouldn't see in theaters because I'm scared and I want to be able to turn the lights on if I want
It's
to.
not even a scary one. Like Get Out, that's very unnerving and all that. Or Us, yeah, those are more horror. This one's not even scary.
Sure.
It's aliens. Oh, spoiler! It's aliens. I don't even think that's a spoiler.
I don't think so. I think that was in the trailer. It was my favorite trailer to come out from this year, though. I really liked some of the teasers that they had where they start with Keke Palmer's speech about horses and the history of Black men in film and like the horse ranch that they run. I think that was just a really cool way to start the trailer, and so that was a good hook. And then as it progresses into more of the sci-fi elements, it just had really good pacing, and the music was very eerie, and like they showed off the visuals really well in like brief, like 2-minute clips. So I loved the trailers for Nope, and then the Black Panther ones were just very emotional. I think really
Extremely.
playing
I think the
up
Black
the
Panther trailers were my favorite.
yeah, really playing up that this was a film that was partially a tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman and the Oscars. Did that happen last year or 2 years ago? I don't remember.
I think it was last year that they did the tribute to him at that event.
Wait, they did a tribute last year?
Maybe it was the year before.
2 years ago, it was everyone thought he would win Best Actor, and then he didn't, and they didn't have anything planned because the plan was he'll win Best Actor, and then someone will give a speech about him. So they didn't have a plan when he didn't win Best Actor.
Okay, yeah, that
It went
is
to,
what I'm
like-
thinking of.
Who did it was? Oh, what was his name? Silence of the Lambs. That actor.
Oh, what is his name? This guy plays Hannibal
There's
Lecter.
an H somewhere in it.
Or
is that Hannibal? I'm thinking
we all know who you're talking about.
We know who it is. Yeah, it went to him for like a good film, and probably his last film is probably why it went to him. But
Yeah.
I mean, that definitely was Chadwick Boseman's last film. Yeah. So if Chadwick Boseman, or if the legacy of Chadwick Boseman deserves anything, it needs an Oscar in some way. So perhaps we'll give it a best advertising campaign Oscar at our theoretical Oscars this year.
Maybe, maybe the
Maybe.
last.
I don't know the results. You do.
I do know the results. I calculated them last night. This one was really close. The last nominee on the list was the Batman, and I don't know how many people knew about
You
the like.
totally forgot about Avatar: The Way of Water.
Oh, we don't need to talk about that one. Luckily, no one voted
Yep.
for. I mean, some people voted for it, but like not enough to talk about. So like, we
The
don't even have to
last one on
acknowledge
this list
it.
is the Batman.
Yeah, the Batman. So they had this like puzzle sort of like for people who are really tuned in because
Oh,
it was starring
those,
the
yeah.
Riddler. There was all of these like puzzles and like can you break the cipher and like learn things about the plot and the upcoming film, and there were ARG elements on top of the normal like we'll release trailers and posters and all of that. And so it's the kind of thing that's very opt-in advertising, and I don't know how much money they like poured into it and how much they got out of people being really engaged. But I really appreciated that aspect of if you want to play the game, it is available. And I don't know how many films would consider doing that.
Yeah, not many. I think
Yeah.
it's because this film, it's a Batman film, and it's like the first, I think, real detective Batman live action. There
Mm-hmm.
have been some animated ones like that, but it's the first like Batman as a detective film. And there's a lot of die-hard Batman fans that are
Yes.
really into a lot of the geeky, nerdy, like code breaking and ciphers and stuff like that. So I think it was a really cool thing to do. And I don't think very many other studios would do anything like it.
So the final vote is the I'm gonna say this in terms of finalists because by far it was the closest race of the entire nominees this year, and the two finalists were the Batman and Black Panther, and it came down to a difference of 0.2% of the vote. So
How many votes is that?
oh,
It's like two or three.
it's like two or maybe one. Honestly, I think one vote could have swayed it either way, especially if you voted on our survey results. I don't think I weighted them more. In the past, I have weighted our survey results a little bit more than our YouTube community post results because we just get so many community post results compared to the survey. But this year, I made them exactly equal. So yeah, no matter where you voted, if you had done one vote, it would have swayed it the other way. So with 28.2 instead of 28%, the winner of Best Advertising Campaign was The Batman. And that's the one I voted for, so maybe I was the deciding vote.
I mean, anyone could be the deciding vote in that case.
Yes, but I'd like to take the credit.
Oh, okay. I don't remember what I voted for this one. Probably Morbius.
Yeah. Which leads us to Worst Advertising Campaign, which our nominees for this category were Black Adam, Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, Morbius, and Strange World. So Morbius is nominated in two categories this year.
Yeah. Well, because it was, I mean, we talked about them advertising it for like 2 years or 3 years before the movie came out.
Yeah, and it's that, and some of their advertising strategy was like, let's just put like Spider-Man in the background of this shot.
Yeah.
And like, let's have this like with the Vulture, him meeting them. And then all these movies were like, maybe not even, all of these scenes were maybe not like fully cut together or like they were only filmed for the trailers. And so that's just like misleading and not representing the actual film that you're going to see. And that's not great. I hate that.
No, yeah. You can't just lie, say Spider-Man's in your movie. Or like they never said Spider-Man's in our movie, but like heavily implied that this is going to be like an important movie for the future of Spider-Man. Especially trying to hook in all of the like it's very clear they're trying to grab Marvel fans, but like MCU fans who don't really care about the Sony Spider-Verse or what is it, the SPUMC?
I have not heard that acronym before.
It's the Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel characters.
That's a
so
bad
much
name.
worse than the MCU. Yeah, the MCU, the Spunk.
Our other nominees were Black Adam. I don't I think the trailers were just kind of subpar, and the date, its release date, kind of really just snuck up on me. Like it was like suddenly like I've been hearing about this movie for years, and then like, oh, it's out in theaters. Okay,
The release date sneaking up on me is a common theme this year.
yeah, I felt that way a lot about Glass Onion, and this one had
Yep.
very low votes. I think after the movie came out, it got enough word of mouth that people heard about Glass Onion, and many people watched it. And since it was on Netflix, a lot of people had access to it. So they didn't have to go to the theaters to see it. Which, like something like Black Adam, it's like you have to hear about it, buy a ticket,
Yeah.
go to the theater. Whereas Glass Onion, you can just hear about it, open your computer, or your phone, or whatever, and stream it. But we made the nominee list the week before Glass Onion came out, and I had yet to see an ad for it.
I don't think I'd ever seen an ad for it. Like to this day, I don't think I've seen an ad for Glass Onion.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you asked me, I think we were talking for some reason, and you said something about like Glass Onion comes out next
We
week.
are closed. See you tomorrow at 9 a.m. for $5 bag sales and half price items.
Is that God?
I am recording at the church, but no, there's the rummage sale going on downstairs, and they just closed. Anyway, you were saying?
Yeah, I don't think I saw any ads for it. I think we were talking like the week before it came out, and at some point you're just like, "Oh, Glass Onion comes out next week." I didn't know that. I was surprised by an ad, and I'm like, "What is Glass Onion?" Because I knew that there was a Knives Out sequel coming out, and I'd heard it was named Glass Onion,
Mm-hmm.
but I completely forgot. So like, there's another point towards the advertising campaign being not the best.
Yeah, I think the campaign was worse than people realized, because I think most people heard about it after it came out, and it got enough fan-generated love that it was adequate. It was sort of like an Encanto effect, where the company didn't do it themselves and the fans took over.
Yeah, I think it's a testament towards that series that there was like no advertising and no one had heard about it, but it did reach like #1 watched thing on Netflix in America in like the first week. So it's like no one had heard about it. No one was like waiting for Glass Onion to come out, or plenty of people were, but like majority of people weren't waiting for Glass Onion to come out. But like everyone who saw, wait, there's a Knives Out sequel, like immediately clicked on it to watch it. I think that's a good
point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah,
like the first movie, and it was a really good movie. I don't know if it's better than Knives Out, but I don't want to get into that conversation right now.
I think I prefer Knives Out, but I also enjoyed Glass Onion quite a bit. That effect with fan-generated buzz did not apply to Strange World.
Nope.
For those who don't know, Disney released a new animated film this year.
For those
and
of you
it's
who've
not
never
terrible. Like, it's not my new favorite, but like, it's not that bad. And no one's heard of it. I want to say the name of the film is pretty, like, Strange World does not tell you what it's about. It's like, it's not enticing. Like, I saw it because I'm a Disney fan, not because I cared about what they were trying to sell me.
Yeah.
If they were even trying.
I definitely would not have seen this movie if it wasn't a Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have to watch every Disney movie that comes out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although you didn't see it in theaters. Yeah, you watched it at home.
Yeah, I watched it at home when it came out on Disney Plus. Not a bad movie, pretty good movie. Just not a good advertising campaign, and I don't think anyone was really that excited for it. I think they definitely could have come up with a better name than Strange World. It has such a journey to the center of the earth, like vibes to it, that they totally could have done something with that. Even if it's trademarked, I'm sure. But Disney can buy the trademark to the words "journey to the center of," and then throw some like weird twist on the end of the title. That would be more enticing.
My pitch
journey to the center of a turtle.
Well, I think part of the, this is my conspiracy theory. I think that part of the advertising was supposed to hide the twist, and that a big part of like my, like, for those who haven't seen Strange World, the twist at the end.
I think if someone hasn't seen it, they don't care.
They don't care. The twist is that
if you do care, we're gonna say it. So leave now.
The main character's society lives on the back of a turtle, and they don't know it. And at the end of the film, they find that out. And I think that if they had marketed it as a Disney film that takes place in the back of a turtle and it's got adventurers and like weird like Dr. Seuss like landscapes, I think that would have been better because it would have played into the absurdity. But it didn't mention the turtle at all. It just had the vague like we're going somewhere no one's been before. And then
Yeah.
tried to show off some of the visuals, but there was no reason to get emotionally invested in the story.
Yeah, I definitely think it did not need to be a twist at the end of it that like they're living on the back of a turtle and now they've got to like save the environment.
Yeah, I think
It
it's
is a
okay to
weird
have
environmental message. It's the message of the movie is you have to kill plants to save other plants,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Really
that the
get to, like, you
environment
have
is
to
killing
kill
itself.
plants.
Well, it's that we're enabling the environment to kill itself, I think, is really what it is. And
Yeah.
that didn't need to be a twist. I think they could have totally like you don't need to make the turtle like a main character. But
No.
just to say
No,
like
I don't think they needed to change anything about the plot. Just the marketing.
yeah. Well, they would kind of. I think it would have just been a better movie if it wasn't a mystery they're on the back of the turtle. Or maybe like the inciting incident is we're on the back of the turtle. And then like in the
Oh,
trailers
yeah,
you
that
can
would've
say
been
like
good.
we live on a giant turtle and we've got to go adventure to save the turtle. Such a weird
That sounds
movie.
great. Well, it seems like most of the audience agrees with us that Strange World was the worst advertised film this year with a 53.7% of the vote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of those votes are probably people who are like, yeah, I've heard of all Strange World.
What is that? I should have called it Disney's Strange World and confused people even more. Our next category was Best Deus Ex Machina, which was another one that I was like, do we need this one? And then I started thinking about some of the endings of films this year. I'm like, there were some fun ones. A lot of this time, I think this category could be construed as like a negative thing. I think it's great. I love this category. Like the ways that like plot conveniences and like
Yeah.
contrivances all stack on top of each other to create ridiculous scenarios. If it's done in a fun way, I think it's great. If it's done in a bad way, then I'm not as much of a fan.
Yeah. Deus Ex Machina is usually like a bad thing. Like, oh yeah, they're in a tough situation and then the resolving conflict is just something saves them. And that sucks. But that doesn't mean that it can't be used well. Like you can
Yeah.
set up a Deus Ex Machina that still counts as Deus Ex Machina.
Which I think is the case for the first nominee, which was the Pandapocalypse 2002, which is
Yeah.
a reference to Turning Red. I think that was set up early on, and even though it was this like big cataclysmic ending, and like there happened to be at a rock concert, and they need music to save the day, and like everything just happened to align with each other. It wasn't breaking the continuity of the way the movie taught us a problem could be solved.
Yeah.
They just
I
blew
mean,
it
everything
out
was
to a
set
massive
up.
proportion.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just like everything in the movie led up to this one giant moment, which is kind of it's the metaphor for like, you know, everything in your life leads up to this one big like there's a change and now everything falls apart and you grow into a giant panda and you just want to destroy Toronto.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah, it happened last week. Yeah.
The other nominees were our double chillin' briefcase switcheroo, dinosaurs are actually not an invasive species, and America punches Wanda into a conscience. All of these... Oh, no. The last two are funny. The double chillin' briefcase switcheroo frustrated me a lot. This is also
Yeah.
from Secrets of Dumbledore. I think maybe I don't like that movie.
Yeah, the problem with this one, like we just talked about how you can set up a good Deus Ex Machina. It's kind of like a twist where it's like, oh, this was a thing that we could do this whole time that completely solves the problem pretty easily. And this whole movie seems to be like trying to convince us that it's about like you gotta see the little like the plan behind the scenes. You've got to keep your eyes out and see what's actually going on. But in reality, it's kind of just like actual chaos and nothing makes sense. So then in the end, when the resolution is if we switch briefcases, it's
Yeah.
like,
And then
I didn't see it
also-
coming. Good job. But
And then also the fact that, okay, so Dumbledore takes them all into a room, and Bunty has gone through she's made like 6 briefcases or something, and it's like, okay, everyone choose a briefcase, and no one will know where Bunty put the Qilin.
Yeah,
And they
but
all
Dumbledore
choose
totally
their
knew where they
briefcases.
were, and Bunty
Well,
totally
not
knew
only
where they
Dumbledore,
were.
Bunty knew where the Qilin is, and then Bunty's briefcase had the Qilin in the end. Like, why didn't you just have her take it the whole time? Like, what's with all the other ones? The Grindelwald's like followers broke open all of the other briefcases. It's not like
Yeah.
any of them mattered. They were just decoys. And Bunty, who just disappears from the last act, like, she's not in it until she walks up with the answer, like a perfect Deus Ex Machina. It's like,
And
well,
it's like-
how did she get past the guards?
So the plan then, if you think about it, was we'll just pretend to have a bunch of briefcases, and then like 2 hours later we'll walk in with the real one. Like,
Like, what was
That's
the
not-
point?
yeah.
Yeah, I hated that one. The others were at least funny. Dinosaurs Not Invasive Species, that's from Jurassic World Dominion, where it's like, oh yes, we've built up at least 3 movies. Like, you can do
Yeah.
the first 3 too. So like 6 movies of like Jurassic Park was a mistake and dinosaurs shouldn't have been created. And if they break loose into the world, chaos will happen. Which I
And
guess
now
the
finally
first-
it's happening.
And then it's
I
just
guess yeah,
not
the
an
second
issue.
movie.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the
now it's-
second
yeah.
movie,
The conflict of the movie has nothing to do with dinosaurs in the real world. It has to do with another like big corporation using dinosaurs and releasing not even dinosaurs, locusts
Mhm.
into like Midwest farms, and then you go onto a secluded like mountain range and
Like,
solve
why
the
did-
problem over there.
Why did the
You
like
don't deal
thing
with the
that they were
dinosaurs in the real
building
world.
up to, like, they just went to a scientific Jurassic Park. Like, it wasn't a theme park in the end, but they still had to go into an animal sanctuary. Like, that's not really telling the story of what happens if all of these
Yeah.
things are unleashed onto the world, if it still takes place in a little commune.
Yeah, it did not live up to the name, which I think is that like everyone. I think when people heard they're making a Jurassic Park sequels like trilogy called Jurassic World, it's like, oh, that's kind of funny because Disney Land, like Disney Parks, and then Disney World is the bigger, better one. But also it
Mhm.
implies that now there's dinosaurs in the real world, and you have to deal with that. And it's like been 3 movies leading up to dinosaurs just hang out in the real world and it's totally fine.
Like, dinosaurs can actually get along with the rest of our ecosystem. It's not a big deal if you just don't kill them.
Just give it some time. It'll
Yeah.
happen.
And then America punches Wanda into a conscience. That's the end of Multiverse of Madness, where America Chavez finds the power within her all along, literally punches Wanda in the face, and then Wanda confronts her monstrous actions in the face of her children and kills herself, basically.
What?
I mean, that's
Huh?
kind of how that movie ends. She
Oh,
topples a
she's
mountain
not
on top
dead,
of her
though.
shell.
No,
I mean,
she
yeah,
just
no,
topples
she's
the
not
mountain.
dead.
There's no way she's dead.
But
She just
yeah,
destroys
no
the mountain
body.
because it's the
But
last
it's
remnant of the
implied
Dark
that
Hole.
she's like, I'm the problem. I'm gonna end me being the problem. So the only reason she's still alive is because she's a Marvel character. Like, if this was a one-off movie that didn't take part of a bigger universe, then I think they would have killed the villain.
Yeah. Yeah, if the villain was like Nightmare or something, then
Yeah.
it's gone. But the fact that it's Wanda means that they gotta keep her alive.
Yep. So our 2 finalists for this one wasn't quite as close. It was a difference of 4%. So that's like a good 3 votes could have swayed it. It was between Pandapocalypse 2002 and America Punches Wanda into a Conscience. This category is Best Deus Ex Machina, not funniest. And so the winner
It's whatever you
was-
interpret it to be.
Pretty much. The winner was Pandapocalypse 2002 with 34.6% of the vote. And I think deservedly so, because it's the one
Yeah.
that was set up but is still ridiculous.
Yeah. I think this one definitely deserved to win for the reasons we've laid out before. It was the best Deus Ex Machina. The other
Mhm.
ones are like the worst or the most ridiculous or the one that came out of nowhere. But this one's like a good Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, just legitimately good. The next category was our worst Oscar snub. So these are the real Oscars, stuff that should have been nominated this year but wasn't. We have RRR for Best Picture, Nope for Best Picture, Tom Cruise for Best Actor in Top Gun, Danielle Deadwyler for Best Actress in Till, Michael Giacchino for Best Score in The Batman, Lightyear for Best Animated Feature. Let me tell you something no one voted for. And any female director.
Yeah.
Like, no one voted for Lightyear, and no one voted for Danielle Deadwyler, which is crazy.
I'd
to
never
me.
heard of her.
Maybe people just didn't see Till, which I watched Till because I recorded a podcast episode on it. And she had a really good performance. So I could see her not getting like a popular vote in like our people who would have filled out our survey. I can see why they didn't vote for her.
Yeah.
But the real Oscars, she should have definitely been nominated. I don't know if she should have won,
Yeah.
but at least a nomination. There was also the fact that like there were no Black women nominated for Best Actor, or at least Best Actress
Really?
this year.
I haven't
Yeah.
really looked into the actual Oscar nominations very much.
Yeah, people thought that Viola Davis in The Woman King should have also been nominated, and then I was like, well, I'm not going to put them both in our theoretical list because there was a lot of nominees in this category, and so I chose the one that I thought was a little bit better. And yeah, I think she got 0% of the vote in our nominations. Lightyear maybe got like
This
2
was Lightyear.
people,
Wait,
but
really? Oh, as best,
maybe
Lightyear should
people-
not be nominated for Best Picture.
not for
It's-
Best
it
Picture,
was
but
not the best-
animated
wait.
feature.
Oh, it was animated. Oh. I thought you said Best Picture. I was like,
No, not Best Picture. But
Best
yeah,
Animated?
you guys apparently do not like Lightyear, and I thought it was okay. It wasn't my new favorite.
Oh, I
Pixar
loved
film.
Lightyear. Yeah, I thought it was really good, and then I saw everyone online hated it. So weird.
Nah, I thought it was
It's
at
like-
least fine. like,
Never has there been such a like disconnect between me and everyone else online, and I was so surprised by Lightyear. Like the closest other one would be like The Last Jedi. Like I like The Last Jedi, and no one else does, but like a lot of people do like The Last Jedi, so I just with them. I haven't seen anyone say they liked Lightyear online. Everyone's like, it's a horrible movie. It's lying to you. Why does it pretend to be something it's not? I think it's just a bunch of Toy Story fans who don't get the point of the movie.
Yeah,
Like, it's not a Toy Story movie.
no.
It was never meant to be.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It's not what I voted for as the worst Oscar snub, but I thought it should at least deserve someone's vote. Do you have opinions
Hey, it got
on...
2 votes.
Nah, that's true. Or something like 2. It didn't have
Yeah.
0%. Did you have opinions on any of our other nominees? So RRR, Tom Cruise, Nope, or Michael Giacchino?
What was Nope you're saying nominated for?
Best Picture. I was surprised it didn't
Oh,
get a
yeah.
nomination for that.
Yeah. Or even, is it nominated for, like, screenplay or anything like that? Because I've heard, like,
It's
the
nominated
writing's
for
really good, too.
something, but it's like maybe production designer. It's like it's a technical award. I don't think it's nominated for screenplay.
None of the ones in the actual ceremony.
Yeah. And I don't even think Jordan Peele is nominated for director. Yeah, he's not nominated for writing. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, it seemed like for a movie, I guess maybe because it's a critique of Hollywood. I'm like, for a movie kind of about Hollywood and the entertainment business, Hollywood didn't like it very much.
Yeah. There's been critiques, or have there? I guess it's normally Hollywood movies that, like, people, that, like, say Hollywood's great. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or there's another one recently about
La La
Hollywood
Land.
and more La La Land. Everyone loved La La Land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that definitely should be nominated for Best Picture, or at least screenplay or director, like any of those things.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
bigger than, I mean, okay, not to diminish the work of production design or sound design or what it was
Yeah,
actually
something better than
nominated for.
production design. What a trash
Something a
concept.
little
We don't
more
need that in the film
high-profile.
industry.
Yeah.
Take it out. I don't want it.
Personally, I think I think the Batman and Michael Giacchino,
Giacchino?
yeah, take one
sorry,
of these
sorry.
pronunciations.
Giacchino.
Michael Cappuccino. I think that was my
That's
favorite
French.
score this year.
Is it?
It's not nominated. I actually don't. like of the scores that are actually nominated, I don't like that. I don't like any of them. But this one was really good, so I'm not quite sure why it got passed on.
I thought the Batman score was pretty good. I did when I was in the theater. I got kind of annoyed by the single leitmotif that plays every time Batman's on screen, and he's on screen for like
Most of the movie?
96% of the movie. There's not a scene without him in it, and there's
Was
just
there a
that
scene
one
that didn't play
Batman
either
leitmotif.
Batman's theme or Ave Maria?
Yeah, when it wasn't Batman's theme, it was a song Michael Giacchino didn't write. So, but no,
Okay,
it was a
I
good
can
score.
support
Just a bit annoying after a 3-hour long movie.
It was a very long movie. All right. Well, the vote came. I was going to say it was close, but it's not. It actually had a very definitive winner, but it was split between our YouTube posts and our survey. By far, the winner of the survey was Nope, by a lot. But because there were so many YouTube votes, it swayed the other way, and the actual winner was any female director.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that one. Yeah, no female directors were nominated this year for best director.
Nope.
Who won
After
Was that
last
a
year, I
female
think.
director?
What?
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
It was the
last year I think was the
yeah.
second time a woman had ever won for directing. Maybe it was the first. I'll have to double check that. That was a Chloe Zhao.
Yeah.
But none this year. There might have been two
Yeah.
nominated last year. Yeah, because
Yeah, the other
she did the Power of the Dog. I forget the director's name, but she directed Power of the Dog, and then the other one was Nomadland. Anyway, that's not important because that's last year.
Last year? Was that last year?
I think so.
Was that 2 years ago?
I think it was last year.
No, wait.
My point is, yeah, that makes sense to me, and it's just indicative of the state of the Academy and what they choose to
Yeah.
nominate. And see, I'm trying to I'm trying to highlight some of the female directors that I know did work this year, and the one that's coming to mind was for Turning Red, so Domini Shi, but
Yeah.
she wouldn't have been nominated in Best
No,
Director.
not for best director.
But there
Other
are
movies.
others.
I mean, we only know really the popular movies and all that. There are probably a bunch of artsy movies written by female directed by female directors that are like
Mhm.
much better than we could ever name on the spot right now.
Yeah. I will put some on the screen as we're editing this and highlight some names of people who should have been nominated this year.
Yep.
All right, that leads us to our next category, which was the most hype moment in film in 2022. Our nominees were the Batman car chase, the Blood Pact breaking, Supersonic Sonic in Sonic 2, and the Marvel Illuminati, and also last minute entry that you had me add after seeing the film, Puss in Boots Final Showdown.
Yeah.
You
You need to see the movie.
yeah, I don't know what that means because we made all these like fun names for stuff, and I was like, "Oh, what do you want to call the Puss in Boots?" Because you were like, "Oh, the end of that," and you were like, "I can't tell you; it's a spoiler." And like, we have to name it something.
I mean, there's definitely a name that I could name it that sounds cooler than just like the Final Showdown. But that would be the spoiler. It's not even an intense spoiler. You'll probably just guess it in the middle of the movie. But it's still like a cool thing about the movie.
Okay. Well, I look forward to watching.
At this point,
it.
I've hyped it up too much.
But it's our most hype moment.
Oh, it was definitely my most hype moment.
I voted for the Batman car chase because that was like a very cool car chase, especially the moment I'm thinking of is specifically the very end where the car is flipped and Batman walks through the flames, the camera's upside down, and the Penguin starts freaking out.
It's like a bat.
Yeah, because they hang off
Crazy.
stuff. It was just really cool, and so that was, I think, what made me the most excited in like a theater this year. A close second being just Wanda destroying the Illuminati in Multiverse of Madness. Like that's not a happy moment, but it's very
No.
cool.
Yeah, it was a somewhat hype moment. I think it was kind of it came after No Way Home having like
Mm.
huge Spider-Man multiverse cameos, so it wasn't as like hype as they probably wanted it to be when like Patrick Stewart and John Krasinski walk on screen. But like it was still pretty cool that they got them there, even if they're not like moving forward in any way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it was a bit of a. It just wasn't as hype as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
But still good nonetheless.
Well, this one was another very clear winner with almost 50% of the vote. So 49.8% of the vote. The winner for the most hype moment in film was Puss in Boots' Final Showdown.
It's a good.
I don't know what it is.
It's just the final fight.
Okay, I'm
It's
gonna
just
trust. I'm gonna trust the voters.
He has a duel with someone. It's cool who he's fighting. The
Okay.
fight is cool itself. How he wins is cool. It's
All
just
right.
a cool moment.
I have to watch the film. It's a necessity at this point. The next category was our worst sequel or adaptation. Yeah, Puss in Boots was definitely not one of the worst, but there were some worse ones this year. Our nominees were Jurassic World Dominion, Minions 2, Rise of Gru. I didn't put those together on purpose. They just like come together
Dominion.
alphabetically. Pinocchio, School for Good and Evil, and Secrets of Dumbledore. I ended up consolidating
There were
our
three
Pinocchio.
Pinocchios.
There
Oh,
were
but one of them was
three.
good.
One of them
Yeah.
wasn't the worst.
Yeah.
I ended up consolidating the two Pinocchio scores together, and so because people were kind of confused on which one to vote for there, and also on our survey. Well, okay. The real reason is because when you post a YouTube community poll, you can't put more than 5 options. And so I was like, oh, we'll take out whichever Pinocchio isn't doing well on our survey. And no one voted for one of the Pinocchios. And so I'm like, okay, we'll just drop that one.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Everyone felt very strongly about one of the Pinocchios.
Yeah, and it's the Pauly Shore one. No one voted for that. Yeah. So Disney's
Which
Pinocchio.
means they kind of liked it.
Yes. Disney's Pinocchio is the one who we're going to be talking about, which neither of us have seen. Have you seen it?
No.
I don't think I've seen the original Pinocchio.
Really?
I don't think so. My Pinocchio knowledge comes from Once Upon a Time.
Remember when Pinocchio became a raging alcoholic? And a biker?
Remember when he bought drugs from a Chinese tea shop?
Good times.
Mm-hmm. All right, what do you
That's
think
canon.
was the worst sequel this year or adaptation?
Let's see. I think on that list I've only seen Jurassic World and
Secrets of
the
Dumbledore.
other one. Secrets of Dumbledore. Secrets of Dumbledore just wasn't good.
Yeah,
it wasn't
I
like
thought...
a horrible movie. It looked nice. It continued the story in a direction.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't a good movie.
I thought I liked it. Like walking out of the theater, I think I told people who asked, I was like, "Oh yeah, like it was okay. I didn't love it, but I think I liked it." And then the more that I talk about it, I was like, "I think I didn't like this movie," which is funny for personal reasons because no one likes Crimes of Grindelwald, but I love Crimes of Grindelwald, and I still do. I've rewatched it and I still love it, and that's my internet opinion versus my opinion disconnect is always on Crimes of Grindelwald.
There's plenty of people who like Crimes of Grindelwald, I think. Maybe.
Really? You need to point me in their direction because I do not know them. I don't think I've met anyone. Ooh, who are you pointing to? The internet?
No.
Oh.
Let's see, where's the comment section? They hate it.
Yeah, I didn't see Minions. I made a whole video about School for Good and Evil, in which in the video I say that it's not the worst adaptation ever. So I was glad when that one didn't win. I'll let you know.
The worst adaptation this year.
Maybe the worst.
I don't know. I think once again, or just like you, have not seen the Minions. But I think that was probably the worst adaptation. I
Yeah,
just
probably.
don't like that they did a Despicable Me prequel and called it Minions. It's just
Yeah.
so clearly that they don't care about anything but getting another Minions property out because everyone from little kids to grandmas on Facebook love the Minions.
And I honestly think the Minions are the worst part of. I guess it's the Minions franchise. Like I was gonna call it the Despicable Me franchise, but it's
It
not.
was the
It's the
Despicable Me
Minions franchise,
Yeah,
and
they
they're
made
the
a
worst
Minions
part.
movie. They made a Minions movie that was a spin-off of Despicable Me, and now Despicable Me is like a spin-off of the Minions.
Basically. Minions did not win, however. The results were pretty clear with 40.8% of the vote. The worst sequel or adaptation this year was Pinocchio, specifically Disney's Pinocchio. And it might have picked up like a couple votes from the Pauly Shore one, but not enough to actually like sway it. Like it wouldn't have gone to the second place, which was Secrets of Dumbledore. I did calculate that one just in case, but no. That only had like 30 something, 32%. So yeah, Pinocchio, worst, I guess, adaptation, not sequel. Yeah,
Yeah, it's an adaptation
yeah.
or a
I
reboot or whatever you want to call it.
from the clips I've seen, 'cause I haven't seen the whole
Non-original.
thing. It looks bad, so
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it.
we will trust you, viewers. We will trust you. Which leads us to our final category of the year, the 8th Subscribers' Choice Award, which is basically Best Picture for Nerds.
Yeah, it's basically just our best picture because every year best picture is given to like some high like technically advanced movie like Nomadland.
Or like something
Who
artsy,
really
or like
liked Nomadland.
yeah, exactly. Or like half the nominees are something I've never heard of until the Oscars,
Yeah.
and then people start talking about it. It's like, if it was that good, why didn't I actually hear about it?
This year, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is probably going to win Best Picture, and that
I
is
hope it does. I think
a
it
movie
deserves
that everyone's
it.
heard of. Like
Yeah.
that's not one that they like pulled out of nowhere. That's like everyone's heard of that movie and it was really good. So I hope that one wins.
I don't know if everyone's seen it, but I know a lot of people
Everyone
have
knows
heard
about
about it.
though.
Yeah, I think it's great. That was my favorite film this year. I know you said at one point it was until you saw Puss in
It
Boots.
was. Now it's
I haven't
Puss in
seen Puss in Boots, so maybe my opinion will change when I watch Puss in Boots. But currently,
And
Everything
maybe
Everywhere
after the
All at
results
Once.
of this.
That's true. I mean, it's not, but
Oh, it's not. Oh.
we should go over the nominees. The nominees this year were The Batman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Lightyear, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and we did have one person write in, and they voted for RRR.
Yeah, I really need to see RRR. It's just a 3-hour long movie, and I don't. I have a hard time committing to sitting down and watching a movie for 3 hours.
Yeah,
unless
it's
I'm in the
weird. Like
theater.
sometimes I'll watch TV for like 3 hours, and it's like, but it's easier
like,
when
I
it's
could've
broken
watched
up into chunks.
RRR.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought about it when it not when it first came out, but when it first started getting buzz. I thought about watching it. But yeah, I looked at the runtime.
I've tried watching it with some friends, and then we're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just watch RRR after we watch this." We were doing like a bad movie night the other night. Not that RRR is a bad movie; it's just a ridiculous movie and it's fun to laugh at.
Sure.
And we ended up. It was like 9 o'clock, and we're like, "I don't really want to watch RRR at this point."
Yeah. Lightyear also got 0% of the vote here.
Stop trying to shoot. It's it's a good movie, but you don't have to shoehorn it into every category.
Yeah, well, okay. I think part of the reason I put it here is because Puss in Boots was another last-minute addition. Like, we added it a couple days before we filmed the nominations because you had just seen it and you said that you liked it a lot. So we added it here. I think it was just have some animated representation on the list. I think that's why we had Lightyear.
That's why Lightyear was there.
I think
Even
so.
though Puss in Boots actually should be nominated for Best Picture this year.
Yeah, maybe we should have taken Lightyear off, basically, is what I'm hearing. Because, yeah, you guys did not agree that it was one of the best films this year. I mean, I'm not even sure that I agree with that, so.
No, it definitely wasn't. It was not the best film this year.
Yeah.
I really hate that I'm saying this. It's a really good movie. It's just not that good of a movie. There's like 4 films I'd rate above it. 3 films I'd rate above it this year.
Okay. Well, this one was not super close. I think the winner got more than the second. Sorry, the winner got more than twice the votes of the second place. So it's a
Okay, so it's a
58.7
pretty big
compared to
lead, yeah.
23.7. But 23.7 is also really good compared to some of these other numbers. Like that would have
Yeah.
done well if if everything else
Yeah.
had been split. So we should talk about both of them. But the ultimate winner was Everything Everywhere All at Once. So that got the 58. And then the second runner up was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which I was surprised by. This was another thing that was kind of split between the survey and the YouTube. I don't remember which was which, but one of them had significantly more Puss in Boots votes, especially early on. I think at one point Puss in Boots was winning, and then a couple weeks passed and Everything Everywhere All at Once overtook it. But yes, I've only seen one of those two, as
Yeah,
we
we
have
know.
established. And the one that I liked the best did win. How do you feel to have Puss in Boots do really well, but not ultimately come out on top?
I think this year the best movie is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's just the best movie that came out this year. But my favorite movie that came out is Puss in Boots.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that Everything Everywhere All at Once is probably a better movie than Puss in Boots. It's just slightly better in every category, probably writing, directing, and all that. It's slightly better, but that doesn't mean that Puss in Boots isn't still my favorite this year. So I don't really feel torn up about the two. I voted for Puss in Boots, but Everything Everywhere All at Once is definitely the best movie that came out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, here's also the thing is that there's a pretty good chance that Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a terrible title to keep saying over and over again,
Yeah.
there's a really good chance that it'll win the actual Oscar for Best Picture. It's not for sure, and I'm kind of scared that it won't, because I think it should.
What else? What's its biggest competitor?
The Fablemans and maybe Top Gun, because Top Gun is nominated.
Top Gun.
Yeah, I don't think Top Gun will win.
Top Gun's not going to win. It's too popular for the Academy
film.
to want to vote for it.
Yeah. The Fablemans is like a Spielberg picture, and you know,
a movie no one's heard of. We know. That's how the Oscars works.
And it's kind of about making movies, like a little bit. At least that's what the honest trailer
It's
told
gonna
me.
win.
But I think it should go to Everything Everywhere All at Once. But, I mean, that made me conflicted putting it on our Ace Subscribers Choice nominees because it's something that I personally liked, but it's not like a movie that's not being like featured by the Academy.
Well, Ace Subscriber isn't movies that aren't featured. That's what's in snubs.
That's
Ace Subscriber
true.
is just what we think is the best movie that we care about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I feel better about putting it on the list then.
Good.
All right, do you have any clothing? All right, do you have any clothing thoughts?
Yeah, you need a better shirt.
Aw, we might be wearing the same shirt if this is your shirt from the wedding. We're wearing the same shirt.
We are. I know it's the shirt from the wedding because I don't have cufflinks.
Oh, I do have cufflinks. Haha. Anyway, do you have any closing thoughts about the ceremony this year?
Oh, closing thoughts. Yeah. As I said in the beginning of this video, I didn't see very many movies this year, but I do think that the movies I did see were really good, and especially really good in the categories that we like to highlight. Like stunts were amazing.
Very hype moments, very good
hype
advertising campaigns.
Advertising campaigns.
At least one like genuinely good Deus Ex Machina, like to the point where I think I'm going to keep the category next year.
You probably should have put Maverick in Deus Ex Machina. Now that I think
I haven't seen Top Gun Maverick. It's hard to come up with Deus Ex Machinas for films you haven't seen.
Dang. Well, there's a few times in that movie where someone's like being chased down. They're on foot by like a helicopter, and then someone just comes in and shoots a plane or the helicopter out of the sky.
Okay.
And that's just kind of Deus Ex Machina, but it's a good Deus Ex Machina because they set it up beforehand.
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of movies this year. I want to say, because I collect my ticket stubs when I get out of the theater, and I want to say I had 13 or 14. So I went like once a month, a little bit more. Um, and so I saw a lot of movies on our list. And I think overall, it was a pretty good year for movies. And there was definitely some trends, and I saw a lot of Marvel movies, and I don't know if they were all the best Marvel movies, but I had a lot of fun going to the theater this year.
Yeah, I wish I went to the theater more. A lot of the movies I saw were at home. Like Glass
Mm.
Onion looked really nice. I would have wanted to see that on a big screen.
Yeah, I
Puss in
totally
Boots
would
I
have
never
gone
actually
to
saw
see
in the
that.
theater.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's another one that I saw. I mean, Strange World. It would have been nice to see it in the theater.
I think the turtle reveal, I was in the
The
theater,
big eye
glad I was
shot is
watching
like,
it on a
yeah.
big screen. It's very cool.
So it looks like that's all we have for this theoretical Oscars of 2023. If you liked this video, then you can do that down there. While you're down there, there's also a button for you to subscribe or scroll a little bit farther, and there's a comment section. It's a really cool place. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but like there's a little bar, and then if you type it in, then like you type in like a word, and then letters appear, and it's the word that you said, and then if you hit enter, they stay there. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, you can go. My earbud fell out.
Oh no. You can also follow us on Twitter at theory_schedule. No, you can't. Those aren't real words. You can also follow us on Twitter at theory_central and consider supporting us on Patreon, like the incredible David W. and Alex Toquinto.
Have they ever gotten back to you about Toquinto or Tohinto?
No, please tell
No,
us
have
if
you
we've
ever
been
asked?
mispronouncing your name for a year now.
Yeah. And David W. That seems pretty easy, but maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe it's double Hugh.
But I think that's everything we have for this theoretical Oscars. So, as always, thanks for watching.
And we'll see you later. Also, wish Kai happy. Dang it! I was gonna do a segue into having them wish you happy birthday because this is coming out the day before your birthday, but I ruined the transition.
Bye.
Now we're recording.
Wish I had a whiteboard marker because I'm in front of a whiteboard. There's no markers in this room. I wanted to write like Oscars.
Yeah, my one decoration is my Disney Advent calendar, so that's not exactly the most Oscar themed.